Hello, my dear friends. It's me, Ksenia, and I did a mistake. Unfortunately, if you already saw this video, you already know that I deleted it and uploaded for one more time. It is so because I found out a mistake in this video. So, if you are my viewer who don't know that this video was deleted and uploaded one more time, you can go further, you can scroll this video until I will be in a green jacket and there will be everything correct, everything right. You shouldn't be worried right now about mistakes. You can watch this video without any worries. But I'd like to tell a few words for those who already watched the video. I'd like to tell about my mistake. Actually, I was really upset when I found out that I did a mistake. I did it because I wasn't attention enough and I wasn't thinking about all the examples. You shouldn't be worried. All the words that I pronounce in this video, I pronounce correctly. But there is some tricky moment. Dear friends, what's the problem? You do remember in this video I told you about 4 positions. And the second position was about the vowels which are at the first place in the word, which are the first letters in the word. And I told you that all letters will be pronounced as they are. They don't change. There is no reduction that happens with these letters. But it's not really true. I missed some examples and that's why I did this mistake. Some letters in this situation, when we've got vowel in the very beginning, changes. And its letters O, E, and Y. These 3 letters will be changed in the word if it is in the very beginning and if this letter is not under the stress. So our O, as you already know, will become A. Our E will become E, and our Y becomes Y. In this situation, we will pronounce these letters quite clearly, but a bit shorter than stressed letters. And here you are one example, so you could understand me better. You see the word. And we've got the vowel O in the very beginning of the word. And it will be changed to the A. But it will be pronounced also very clearly and just a little bit shorter than stressed vowel. It will be pronounced like огурец, огурец, огурец. And you see, I pronounce this word very clearly, like огурец, огурец, огурец. You almost can't hear the difference between the letter that is under the stress and the letter which is in the very beginning, because it's pronounced very nicely. We hear it very well. Compare our pronunciation of the word огурец with word молоко, молоко, молоко. You see, in the word молоко, the stress is under O in the very end of the word. And that's why the first O in this word is pronounced like A, but it's really short. In the word огурец, the first O is not under the stress. But as it is the very beginning of the word, we pronounce this A longer and clearly than in the word молоко. Огурец, молоко. Огурец, молоко. In the word молоко, you almost do not hear this A. It's so short that it's almost unable to understand the sound that I pronounce. In the word огурец, 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 this A, which was O but changed, we hear very clearly. So, dear friends, I really hope that you excuse my mistakes. See, sometimes it happens. You can't think about all the examples, and that's why sometimes you miss something. But I think that it's important to say that some days you are wrong, that sometimes you made a mistake. But when we find out the mistake, I think we become stronger and we start understand material better. And I hope that my mistake also proves you that it's not something awful to make a mistake, and you will be more brave to start talking in Russian, to start training, and also you will be more brave to make mistakes, because without mistakes there are no results, there are no wins without mistakes. Mistakes should be in our life. And now here you are a video which is already correct. There are no mistakes. Hello my lovely viewer, nice to meet you or nice to see you here again. It's me, Ksenia, and today here we are talking about the whole word's pronunciation. Can you believe in that? We are almost at the finish. So today, as we talk about words pronunciation, we will talk more about vowels and stresses. Believe me, after Russian stresses, you will get a real stress. Today we will speak more about vowels. Also, we will speak about syllables with vowels. So, if you are ready, it's almost the end of the topic of pronunciation. So if you learned all material before, we can really start this one. So, my dear friends, just before we start talking about whole words, let's speak about the syllables with vowels. Because in my previous videos, I've been talking about situation when we pronounce two sound vowel as a one sound vowel. You do remember we've been talking about this. But today I'd like to talk with you about two sound vowels when we pronounce them as a two sound vowels. Don't think that there are no such situation. There are such, and we need to talk about them. So, my dear friends, and the first situation when we pronounce two sound vowel as a two sound vowel, it's when we've got this letter two sound vowel in the very beginning of the word, if it is at the first place in the word. And again, I'll give you some examples. So here you are the word yama, yama, yama. You hear vowel ya is two sound, at the first place in the word, and we pronounce it as a two-sound letter ya. Or word yolka. You see, vowel at the first place, and we pronounce it as a two-sound yolka. Y and O, yolka. And the same situation will be with other two-sound vowels. So, the second situation, when we pronounce two-sound vowel as a two-sound vowel, it is when before two-sound vowel we've got soft sign. So here you are an example. Word vyuga, vyuga, vyuga. You see, in this word we've got soft sign, and after it only goes two-sound letter. The fact that in the word there is a soft sign makes following. Soft sign makes consonant before sound soft, but also it gives a possibility for two-sound letter to be pronounced as a two-sound letter. So listen again attentively. We pronounce this word as vyuga, 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 vyuga. And lovely viewers, the last situation when we pronounce two-sound vowel as a two-sound vowel. It happens when we've got vowel, no matter which, before our two-sound letter. So, for example, word dobraya, dobraya, dobraya. You see, in the end of this word, we've got two-sound letter ya. But before it, we've got vowel letter a. That's why we pronounce this two-sound letter as a two-sound letter ya. Dobraya, dobraya, dobraya. Ya there is in this word. Or, for example, word добрее, добрее, добрее. You see, in the end of this word, we've got two vowels. The vowel letter in the very beginning is ye, and before it, we've got another ye. So, the last letter in this word will be pronounced like ye, ye, with the consonant ye inside. But the second ye, which is after consonant letter R, will be pronounced like just e, because before it there is a consonant, and there is no ye will be pronounced, it will be disappeared, and it will make just consonant before sound soft. So listen attentively. Добрее, re, ye. You see, consonant re becomes soft. Then we got e, and then two-sound letter ye. Dear friends, I hope you understand. Maybe not so easy, but still try to concentrate and pronounce also with me to make it clear. Dear friends, and here you are a table where all the rules put together about two-sound vowels. All three positions are written here. Read it again, try to understand it better, concentrate, and then write it down into your notebooks. And also, of course, unfortunately, we need to learn all of this if we want to start pronounce correctly. Dear friends, and that's it. What? I'd like to say about syllables with vowels. And now we can really start talking about the whole word's pronunciation. Can you believe in this? Unbelievable in my point of view. As we are talking about words pronunciation, it is very important to talk about stresses in Russian language. Stresses, or also it may be called accent. What is it? It is when in Russian language the vowel letter is pronounced longer and more clearly. It means that this letter is under the stress. In the word can be only one stress, and in Russian language there is no logic in the stresses. So when you learn the word, you should also learn the accent, the stress letter which has this word. And also, when you will go further with me, I hope, and we will learn grammar, and for example, you will know about cases when the word starts changing, you will see that stresses also sometimes changing in the word. So stresses in Russian is something horrible, but right now we will learn how to pronounce these words if we know where the stress is. So, my dear friends, as I already said earlier, the first our rule that the vowel under stress should be pronounced longer and very clearly. And it works for all the vowels. For vowels I, U, U, A, Ya, Ye, O, Yo. For all the letters, vowel letters. But you shouldn't think that all the rules already don't work. So if we've been talking about two sound vowel changing into one sound vowel, this rule still works. We will just pronounce the letter that will be changed from two sound vowel to one sound vowel very clearly and long. So here you are some examples. You see the word, and also I'm showing the stress with a comma. So you see stress is under ye, letter ye, but in this word you already know that we will pronounce it like because consonant y disappears and it makes consonant before sound soft. So we pronounce it like тема, тема, тема. And I hope that you see that letter in this word is pronounced more clearly and longer. Тема, тема, тема. Another example, word болото, болото, болото. You see that the stress here is in the middle of the word, and this O is pronounced very clearly as O, and if we compare with other sounds, vowel sounds, it will sound more clearly and more longer. Listen one more time. Болото, болото, болото. You see, I pronounce болото, болото, болото. Dear friends, the next position, the second position. If our vowel is in the very beginning of the word, if it is at the first place in the word. So dear friends, in this situation, all the vowels will be pronounced very clearly, but there is an exception, because how can it be otherwise in Russian language, right? So the exception will be such letters as E, and in this position our letter E will be changed to the E. Our letter Y is also from the exception, and you could already guess that it will be changed to the Y, because it is two-sound letter. Y consonant stays the same, but our E changes. And the last that will be changed, it is letter O. It will be changed to the A. But still, all these sounds will be pronounced clearly and quite long, just a little bit shorter than stressed one. The first example, word Eula, Eula, Eula. You see, the stress is under A, but our letter stands in the very beginning of the word. That's why, no matter that it's not under the stress, we will pronounce it quite clearly, but a little bit shorter than stressed one. Eula, Eula, Eula. You see, it's even hard to understand where is the stress. Is it under U or is it under A? Another word, arbuz, arbuz, arbuz. You see, the letter A, it's still pronounced like A, a little bit shorter than stressed letter, but still very clearly, and still hard to understand where is the stress. Is it at the first letter of the word or is it at the U? But here it is under U, but A is also clearly pronounced. And the last word for this example is word огурец, огурец, огурец. So you see, there is O in the very beginning of the word. O is from the exception, and that's why it changes to the A. But still, word огурец, огурец, огурец is pronounced quite clearly. You hear A very nicely, right? It's almost like the stressed letter. Maybe after my explanation you've got such a question. What should we do if we got vowel at the first place, but it's also stressed? So my dear friends, the rule for the stress influences much more. So the rule for the stressed letter will be the main rule, works stress. And here you are an example, word озеро, озеро, озеро. You see, it's O from the exception, but O is under the stress. And in this situation, we pronounce it like O, no matter that it stands at the first place in the word. Dear friends, the third position, when we've got vowel before the stressed vowel. In this situation, we will pronounce all the vowels clearly and quite long, except letters E, Y, O. So, in this position, if we got vowel E, it will be changed to the E. If we got vowel Y, it will be changed to the Y, Y. y. So it will be y consonant sound and e vowel sound. You see, if we changed a into e, here in this situation we've got a pair two sound letter and it will be changed to the y. And this e and y should be already pronounced quite short. E, y, e, y. What happens with o? O will be changed to the a. We will pronounce it like short a. And you may think that also should be happened with yo, so maybe it should become ya. But no, there is no such situation, because you should remember this. Yo is always under stress. So there is no such situation when we would pronounce it otherwise. And I've got some examples for you so you could believe me. The first example, the first word is mitla, mitla, mitla. You see, the stress is under a. But before the stressed a, we've got ye. This ye, it's two sound letter, and it makes consonant before sound soft and changes to the e, one sound letter. But as it is in this position, it also changes to the e. And we pronounce this e quite short. So listen once again attentively. Mitla, mitla, mitla. There is a short sound e. Or another example with letter e. In the word aerob, 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 aerob. A little bit unusual word is from the biology. It is so because actually in Russian language there are not so much words with letter e. Because in Russian language words with letter e usually are loan words. They are borrowed from the another languages. So, aerob, aerob, aerob. You see, o is under the stress and vowel before e pronounced like e. Aerob, aerob, aerob. Have a look again at this word bolota, bolota, bolota. You see, the stress is in the middle, but the first o becomes a. We say bolota, bolota, bolota. O pronounced clearly and long when it is stressed, but if it is before o, we pronounce it not so long, and we pronounce it as a, as a short a. Bolota, bolota, bolota. Dear friends, and the last word for this example, for this position, have a look what should we do if it's not the vowel from the exception. Here we got a word and the stress is under a. So, u, which is before a, will be still pronounced like u very clearly, but a little bit shorter than a. Muka, 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 muka. Dear friends, and the last, fourth situation that we need to learn when we talk about whole word pronunciation. So the fourth situation is all other positions. So, for example, if we got vowel after stressed vowel, or for example, if we got vowel which is before vowel which is stressed. I hope you will understand me later. So, in this position, only I, U, U, U vowels, they will be pronounced very clearly and quite long, but shorter than stressed one. But all the others, it's A, O, Ya, Ye, E, will be changed. So our O and also A will be pronounced as a very, very short A. It's actually not already A, but it will pronounce like A, 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 very short and very quickly pronounced. And let's take an example that we already saw. The word болото, болото, болото. You see the stresses in the middle, but the vowel after it is the position that we are talking about right now. And you see that we pronounce this O in the end like a very short A, like A, A, A. Болото, 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 болото. Maybe you already guessed that our vowel letter Ya will be changed to the Y and short A. So it's not Ya already, it will be very short Ya, 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 Ya. And for example, here it is a word авария, авария, авария. You see, in the very end of this word, we've got vowel Ya, and it will be pronounced very shortly and not clearly. Авария, авария, авария. Short Ya, Ya, Ya. We don't pronounce it long and clearly. Another letter that will be changed is letter E. And it will be changed to the very short I. It will be like I, I, I. Very short, not clearly pronounced. And here you are an example. Аэропорт, аэропорт, аэропорт. You see, in this word, we've got stress under O, the last O in this word. So we've got O before stressed letter O. We pronounce it like A. Аэропорт, аэропорт, аэропорт. And then we've got E, which is before vowel, which is before stressed vowel. I hope you do understand it. So, and in this situation, our E changes to the short I, and we pronounce aeroport, aeroport, I, very short. Aeroport, 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 I, very short I, aeroport. But A in the very beginning, pronounced quite clearly because it's A in the very beginning. It's another position. And also Ye, which changes to the Y and I, consonant Y with I. Another example word взморье, взморье, взморье. You see, the stress is under O, and after O we've got another vowel Ye, взморье, взморье, взморье. It should be pronounced as a two-sound letter because before it we've got a soft sign, but as it is after stressed letter, We already pronounce this vowel not clearly and not like ye, but we pronounce it like I, yi, yi. Zmorje, zmorje, zmorje. Short y, y, y. Dear friends, and the last example, then you could compare it the word зрители, зрители, зрители. And you see, the stress is at the first E. And in the end of this word, we've got letter E. And we still pronounce it like E, because even in this position, it's still pronounced clearly, but a little bit shorter than stressed one. Зрители, зрители, зрители. So, my dear friends, I hope you do understand this lesson. I absolutely agree that it wasn't easy, that it's hard to remember all of this, that it seems like you always should hold that the very stress, what is the position, but after some time, I guess you will start pronouncing it correctly without thinking about it. But now, yes, when you start only practicing, you need thinking about this. But as you could see, the stress work in such way. For example, we've got position before stress, so we already pronounce the letter quite clearly. Then we go up to the stress and we take all our strength together and pronounce it very clearly and long. And then we are already out of breath. And that's why we go down and we already pronounce letters not so clear and not so long. So it goes up and down when we pronounce words under stress. And lovely viewer, here you are a table where you will get all the rules that we've been talking about stresses. Here we are all 4 positions. Look at this table. Maybe it will help you better understand whole material because everything here put together. So again, read it, try to concentrate, understand it better, and when you do understand it, only then write down this table and try to learn. If you got any questions, you can always ask me. But actually, for this lesson, it's it, and we almost it with pronunciation. So, but don't miss me, because I will make tons of new lessons. So you shouldn't be worried about this. But we will see each other very soon, so I could really rush on you. The next lesson will be about practice. It's already a good tradition. But for today, I can say you bye-bye, my lovely viewer. Bye-bye.